Hello everyone. Happy New Year. I'm Stephen Bartkis, the director of the Ridgefield Historical Society. I'd like to welcome all of you to the Ridgefield History Club here at the Scott House. We're at 4 Sunset Lane in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Today's date is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. It's great to see all of you. The Ridgefield Historical Society is an independent nonprofit organization, and we're dedicated to preserving and sharing Ridgefield's historical, cultural, and architectural heritage from the indigenous peoples who lived here thousands of years ago up to the present day. For all of you here and on Facebook, I invite you to get involved in the exciting and important work that we do here by becoming members and volunteers of the Historical Society. I'd like to remind you about a couple of our upcoming programs before we get started today. This Saturday, January 25th, Jack Sanders, who is also joining us today, will be hosting an obituary writing workshop here at the Scott House. That's at 10 o'clock, and we have a few seats left. If you're interested, please go to our website and sign up. On Wednesday, January 29th, the following week, we are partnering with the Granite Church, and Brent Colley will be talking about the history of Georgetown and the railroad. And on Wednesday, February 26th, Christine Johnsmeyer is going to be sharing her research in an illustrated presentation called The Story of Ridgefield's First Black Church. So please join us for these upcoming programs. You can get more information on our website at ridgefieldhistoricalsociety.org. So for today, we are talking about wintertime memories here in Ridgefield, and it's so appropriate for the weather that we're currently having. It's very cold here today. I think we're around 18 degrees or so for the high today, and we just had some snow the other day, so it looks very wintry here in Ridgefield. We're going to be talking about how we spent our time in the winter here in Ridgefield in the past, and I think there were a lot of fun activities that took place, especially when we were growing up, including sledding and ice skating and other things that you remember during the winter time here in Ridgefield. So I would like to hand it off to someone here. If you would like to share a story about any wintertime memories that you have, feel free to jump in. And Betsy was able to pull these great photographs from the Historical Society's collection that we have here on the TV as well. And I see that we have a sled, a flexible flyer sled too. Who brought that?
I did.
You brought it, Pete. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your sled?
I'm sure it was bought by my parents for me. It is something that everybody, when they saw it, they said, "Oh, a flexible flyer." And it was a sled that I and my family used to go on all the time whenever it snowed. I lived over on Continental Drive, which has one of the highest pitches in town for a road. And so we wouldn't necessarily go down the front side of Continental Drive because it ended up right on North Salem Road, and that would have been dangerous, but we did a couple of times. But the North Salem Road was pretty much closed at the time because there was just so much snow. And it was a lot of fun to go sledding with the friends, and we also did some, the flying saucer, the metal disc basically. Doing that, and then we also did some tobogganing. And where I remember tobogganing most was at Pound Ridge over in New York State. We would go over
reservation.
Yeah. We brought a toboggan over there, so it was just a great time. School was canceled because there was so much snow, and it was nice.
So did you wax the runners?
We didn't care about
You
that.
didn't care?
No.
I remember doing that to get them to go a
we
little
did
faster.
too.
Yeah.
Get the perfect marks.
And ropes in the
ropes.
handles so you could
Yep.
ride sitting up, right, and
Yep.
steer?
Yes. And pull it up the hill.
and pull it up the hill.
Yeah, I
Do
think
kids still use them? Or do you see them? I haven't been by Veterans Park.
I was out yesterday on the golf course and there were no flexible flyers. It was
They're all plastic.
yeah,
Yeah,
plastic is the way to go, I guess, today.
yeah, much easier to tote around.
Lighter and slippery.
Yeah,
The other good sledding tobogganing place was Ridgefield School.
right. Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I had a couple members of my family ended up in the ER after
Wow.
tobogganing up there.
Why? Because
One
they did
night.
a jump or?
I don't
Oh,
know what they
nighttime
did.
tobogganing.
With boys, you don't know what they did.
Hey, we didn't do anything wrong.
No.
Yeah. Well,
I thought it was interesting what Pete said about when school was canceled. But Elaine and I were just conversing that when we went to school, we don't remember school being canceled.
And we went to what is lovingly called in town the old high school, but that was not the old high school. That was our school.
Right.
yeah.
We went to elementary school in the north end of the building and graduated in the south end of the building.
Right.
So that was our school, and I
Yeah.
think people forget it.
Yeah.
So the buses were bringing kids in from all over
Yes.
town to that school.
Yes.
Sally, I remember, because I lived at the north end of town, and the buses had chains.
Bang, bang,
bang,
bang.
bang, bang. I remember Harry Pancotti was my bus driver, and coming around Pope's Corner, I would be
Oh.
praying, but he did it, and got me home fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't remember school being canceled, unless it was really, really a blizzard.
We never rode a bus.
Oh,
We just
Well,
had to
I
walk.
rode the
We
bus.
just had to walk up the hill.
Yeah.
No, I rode the bus
Well,
long ways.
you mentioned the blizzard. Do you remember the blizzard of 1969?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one that
yes, then it was, yes.
it was crazy, the amount of snow. I don't even remember how much snow we had,
A
but
lot.
we were jumping into snowbanks. We built it wasn't really an igloo, it was a tunnel into our neighbor's backyard because the snow was blowing and it was made, created in such a way that it must have been 10 feet deep
Right.
in that area. And it was,
We all lost power for days, and
Oh, you did.
yeah, it wasn't good.
yeah.
That was the year Ella Grasso was governor,
I think so.
and she shut down the state.
The state,
Yeah.
69.
Yeah, we didn't have school for a week, I think.
Yeah, that was.
So,
A week, wow.
Were
Yeah.
you still on the ridge in '69? When did they move up to what the high school now?
oh, you mean the new high school?
Yeah, well,
73, wasn't it?
72.
72.
Yeah. I was a sophomore. I was in the first sophomore class in 1972 when we went up to the high school. I never had the opportunity or the pleasure to go to the old high school, which I, to
You
this
missed
day,
a lot.
it still
Yeah.
bothers me.
Missed a lot, Pete.
I know.
Yeah.
And when they cleared the roads back then, they cleared them down to snow. They never,
Right.
we never
Right.
expected them to be bare.
No, no.
right.
So like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly like that. They didn't use all that stuff that they put on the roads now. With
Yeah.
sand, I think, most
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, they sanded if it got really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Now they put salt on the roads ahead of time,
Yes.
and then they plow it after. And,
Yeah.
you know.
Could we go through these
Look at that
slowly and
snow.
talk about them?
I don't know how to do it slowly.
Oh, you don't? Oh.
I do. Could try it.
But there's not a,
A time.
See if Keith was here. He's our technical guy. He's good at that. You want to try it?
well, you keep talking and I'll play with that. or-
Okay. Yeah. Good.
So I also have multiple flexible flyer sleds. That was the preferred type of sled that I used when I was growing up in the 1980s. And we had a whole fleet of them for the neighborhood kids to use. And my father would pack down the hill in our yard with his truck and even spray some water on it to create this sheet of ice that we would go sledding down. And I also have my grandmother's flexible flyer, and I noticed the design of the earlier flexible flyers were maybe a bit more dangerous. The
Do it.
metal parts in the back were not rounded, but they stuck out straight,
Oh,
and I bet you some kids got impaled
Yes.
from that. And this version is a little safer, I think, where they rounded the metal parts at the
Oh,
back,
yeah, I
right?
think mine is straight out.
Oh, it's straight
yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely, that's the rounded version.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's rounded
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
You're right. And the reason they call it a flexible flyer is because to steer,
Yeah.
Oh, right.
it actually moves these runners to the left or to the right. And
It's just the front though, huh? That
Yeah.
just the
Yeah.
front section. I never really looked at it from underneath.
Yep. I'm surprised that it's still in one piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well made,
Good.
Yes.
Well made, right.
American made.
In the old
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. Bring back the flexible flyer.
Yeah.
Mine looks really new compared to that.
Okay, so we're gonna look
But
at
you
some.
could run,
So
Yeah.
now,
and put
now
the
we're-
sled down.
figured it out.
Yeah,
Jump,
that's why I
jump on it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this, and then when you got a little older, then you sat on it and used our feet
Well,
to.
we also had the ropes on them too.
Yeah.
You could steer like a
Steer with you
Like
with
a
the
horse.
ropes.
Yep, we ran and went down Prospect Street.
Oh yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, try doing that now.
I know, right?
Yeah, we'd start at Mrs. Brunetti's,
Yeah, and go down there.
and go down,
Yeah.
and go down the hill,
Yeah.
and the whole neighborhood would come out.
Yeah. And, you know, obviously there was no,
And have
there was no
fun.
cars out or trucks out or
No,
anything,
no.
so
No.
you didn't have to worry.
Well, here we have the playhouse
In the snow.
in the snow.
When
1940 built,
And
opened.
we didn't have snow blowers back then either.
No.
It
Shovel.
was the old shovel.
Right, the good old shovel.
We don't know how old this is, right? This is,
This picture,
yeah, it's probably 50s, 60s.
Yeah, when did
Yeah.
snow blowers come?
say 50s.
Does anyone, what year?
The what?
What,
Snowblower.
snow blowers?
Oh.
I don't know where this
60s,
is taken.
70s.
It was in our collection. I don't know.
Is that
Hockey.
playing hockey?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely hockey.
Look at this
There's no date.
old-fashioned sticks by the. He's wearing knickers, so that takes
Yeah.
it back
Yeah.
to
True.
Yeah.
Maybe the
20s,
30s,
20s,
yeah.
30s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his skates are different
have
than
a-
they would be now.
Yeah.
Picture with my dad with
The
knickers.
pond looks like it's been recently created or something. It's got
Yeah, all that dirt around it.
Yeah.
piles
right
of dirt there. Maybe it's that place over off of Ramapoo. Isn't there an old quarry in there someplace that was mined from?
There were a couple of quarries in there, off Casey Lane and Ramapo, but I don't remember seeing anything that big.
There were a lot of ponds
Yeah.
that people would go to skate on, like
Right.
8 Lakes.
Yep.
All those little ponds up there.
We used to go to Roberts Pond.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Robert's Pond.
Hidden Lake, all those little
Yeah.
ponds
Yep.
that we could go. And Pier Pond.
Right.
We used to
Right.
go over there
Pier
when my
ponds.
kids were growing up.
Right.
That's where they went skating.
And what do we
But
have
you had to
here?
be careful.
The inn at Ridgefield?
That's the
what
inn.
the sign says out front. Can you read the sign?
That's the inn at Ridgefield? Oh, yeah, I guess it could be.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it looks
Does
so
it say
different,
Kane?
doesn't it, Jack?
Does it say Kane's Inn? What does the
Is
sign
this
say?
the time of toadies, the toady?
It doesn't look like
I
it.
know, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Says it look
I
like
can't read what it says above.
It says the inn at Ridgefield.
So they
The
they
inn
took
at
that
what?
big porch
At
off,
Ridgefield.
At Richmond.
right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like it at all.
They took the front porch off, Barb.
Yeah.
Oh,
They didn't, you know how they have that
okay.
walkway out
Yeah.
front with
Yeah.
the covering?
So this is where the Benjamin
The
is
side
today?
looks
Yes.
like it. Side looks like it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the porch.
Yeah.
No porch there.
Because it has that gable end that facing West Lane, but
Wow.
not the porch.
Interesting angle. It's a,
Yeah, exactly.
Now West Lane is down in the way down in the bottom corner.
Yeah, yep, down there.
Yeah. cool. So that's what, 40s, 30s?
Don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
if it's
We
the
didn't-
inn at
we didn't go
Ridgefield,
to
it's the
the inn for
fifties
dinner
or
when we were
sixties,
growing up.
but that's probably
Is that
late
Toby's?
forties, fifties.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now
Wow.
That's
Is,
Branchville,
look at that guy, what's he doing?
and that's the engine that used to pull the
The
several
passenger?
cars up to
Yeah,
Ridgefield
yeah, look at
and
that.
back them down. This is dated from around 1900, and
Yeah,
Wow.
I think
because remember
was a
when we
more-
used to go down and put the money on the things?
Yeah,
We didn't, the engine wasn't like that.
no,
No, that's
And
not
it wasn't
huge.
carrying people.
yeah, we put money on the track.
Yeah, my
Looks like
brother
there's only
John
one
loved
car,
trains, so
though.
when they would
well,
come.
they
we would run down.
discontinued the passenger service in 1925,
Yeah,
but that's a passenger train, yeah.
yeah, but there's only one car.
It's like one car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Then
doesn't-
it, then it went just to freight, cause it would bring freight up to
Yeah.
the Ridgefield supply.
It was 62.
What's the guy in the front doing?
He's just
Can you see?
getting his picture taken.
I think you're
You
right.
don't even notice it until you.
No, you really, it's hard to tell, really.
Mhm.
And
You
is that
see the legs,
snow
that's it.
over the front, like he was
Yeah.
just pushing snow?
Well, I think that they have a plow on
Yeah,
there,
they do.
don't
Like a
They-
cow
they
patch
have a
thing.
deep
Yeah.
plow.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
Yep.
Neat,
And the snow shovel that guy has looks like the same kind of snow shovel of today.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
the
it's,
metal.
Well, we used to use the coal shovel to shovel snow.
Yeah,
Oh.
we
Right.
did too. Those square,
Yeah,
mhm.
long square.
Heavy.
yeah, heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was donated by the Morehouse family. It was in the Presses collection, and we passed that on.
Whoa.
That was taken by Scott Mullen,
Oh.
and that's at Veterans Park.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's Veterans Park.
It looks like it.
And that would have been 1990s. He was so great at catching,
That's a pretty modern sled there
Action.
that they have.
Yeah.
and look at the faces.
Yeah,
Mhm.
doesn't have a hat on.
It wasn't as cold as today.
That's a great picture.
Yeah.
Wow, that's snow, huh?
Dick Venus had a theory as to when that was taken, but I can't remember. Was it Mark? You remember, Betsy?
Mark?
What
Mark?
date?
No, it wasn't Mark.
No.
But we have, Obedience was there,
Yeah.
so
So that's the corner of
Denton Block.
Bailey.
It was
Yes,
still,
the corner-
it was
it's the
Denton,
corner of
okay.
Main and Bailey.
Is that where the Books on the Common is
Yes,
today? That
yes.
building, the big one
Yeah.
that we see there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
so it's after the fire, right?
Oh, yeah.
And what year was the fire?
1895?
So
This
early
is probably the
1900s.
20s.
See a
By the-
horse over here.
Look at how much snow they have.
Mm,
And there's no cars.
Well, they have no place to
yeah. no
bring it,
place
you
for
know, they
people.
don't haul it
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the
Look, that's,
town
look,
trucks it out.
6, 8, 10
So we
feet.
know this was 1915.
Oh, this is the Easter
15.
storm?
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
That was quite a shocker for people.
Yeah.
So the building on the right is where Planet Pizza is?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have a two-seat.
Yeah, we're looking south.
Still looks
You can
the
see
same.
Used to be
St. Stephen's
Brunswick
Church.
Juice.
Okay, so this is
What does
south.
the sign say at the left edge?
Well, it's sort of cut off, but it's Gottlieb's store.
Oh, Gottlieb, so this is, yeah,
My motto is good goods and low prices.
What they do,
Gottlieb's
Jack?
was in what is now that, was the Finch building for a while, it's what is now that
It's a
Mexican,
Mexican
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah,
Taco.
yeah.
Baja taco.
Yeah.
That's-
Oh, that's right, that's it, yeah.
Ooh.
This is another one that Dick would have known.
Well, Jesse Lee's still there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that car that's stuck.
Our
Well, I
house-
assume it's stuck, maybe
The
it's
Scott
not.
house has moved, so
Yeah.
Gonna be after
So is this
1920.
taken from the corner of Governor Street looking northwest on Main Street?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yes,
So,
Yes.
Well,
where the
we have-
hardware store is.
if we had Bob Swanson here, he could tell us the date of the car.
Yes.
Yeah,
I can't tell if the car is stuck or
Just parked and
drift.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's in it.
I know.
Well, we know what the
know
hell
where that is.
Yeah.
that's the Oddfellows Hall,
Yes.
and that was in, this is about 1947, I believe, or
look at
48.
that car though in the,
There's a Buick in there, on the left.
Yeah.
I think that's
that
a
looks
Buick.
newer, doesn't it?
there.
Yeah.
49?
Maybe. It was late 40s.
Now,
Yeah.
where is this located?
Toy chest?
Dorchester's
Jack-
now,
Jack,
That's,
give us a little history on the Oddfellows. When was that taken down?
No,
it's still there.
it's still there.
It's, that building is still there. It's the toy chest.
Toy chest.
Yeah, but when did,
when did they move out?
yeah, when did
Oh,
it
they-
become
they
a
moved-
commercial? Like,
They,
Moved up to,
they sold
Just-
that in the late 50s to Albert Gayetta built
right,
the
right,
little shopping center
Yes.
down the alley there.
yes.
And they moved over to King Lane, and then
Then I
began
guess
their
he's,
gradual fading from the scene.
the what?
Fading from the scene.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the front
Used to have
That's the
square
canvas.
houses there.
with the
At
column?
the-
I don't remember the columns.
No,
I don't either.
I
The
remember
columns
it all.
are, when did they take those down?
They may have been built into what is now
They
there.
enclosed that,
Come on.
They enclosed that, and that's show windows.
Yeah, it could be,
Okay.
could
Yeah.
be,
Yeah, but
Could be.
that was a beautiful building.
it was. I
And
forgot
of
all
course,
about
there was
that.
no shopping center behind it,
No.
No.
so that was, it was really pretty there.
what was to the other side then? Was that
Which side?
over
to
here.
the north?
There was a house.
There was a house.
That was Ballard.
That's where
Oh, that way.
Dr. Bryan lived at the turn of the century. I don't know who lived after that.
Yeah, and on the other side, there were houses, Patty, yeah, there were houses up
There was a funeral home.
There was a
Leslie's
funeral home,
funeral
yeah.
home, and then the Osborne property.
On
from
Main Street, and then-
in the Bailey, where I grew up.
Yeah,
With
where
no
you grew up.
Yeah,
With no
that,
heat.
that brick building, which is still there, was the
Yes.
first really commercial building on
Yeah.
Main Street on that side.
And was cleaners there, wasn't there, Patty? Where
We-
the brick building?
The
yes,
red-
Yes.
And a
That was one of the
pharmacy.
first cleaners like we had in town.
And
Wow.
the yardage shop. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But
Oh,
before
And
that,
there
there was
was
a
Mc-
pharmacy there.
Yes,
which was-
yes.
Mignory's
Yes.
Pharmacy. Mignory's, I think they called it, Minerals.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mary,
Yeah, we
yeah.
used to go to Smith's too.
That's a beautiful
Gee, I
structure.
forgot about that, yeah, that odd fellows.
That's the Elms.
Yep.
The L's.
Oh,
Yeah.
It looks the
Picture
same.
designed to show the snowbanks, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And look at Main Street.
They can look at it all the way down.
They just opened it up. They didn't,
Yeah.
you were on your own.
No,
Everybody had chains.
exactly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you walked.
It must have been,
Whose house is
there was
that?
an
Yeah.
ice store.
That's
This
Casey's
is-
house.
Yes,
Yeah.
Casey's?
Oh, no
Okay.
kidding.
Oh,
Where is that, Betsy?
yes.
Casey.
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 Oh, that's Casey's house, okay.
Casey, Diane?
Yeah.
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 That's where
Where Shane
the
lived, yeah.
Well, it
skeletons
wasn't
are underneath
Casey's
that,
there,
Yeah.
but
that wing
Well,
there.
it didn't look like that when Diane
No.
was living there, so it's gotta be prior to that,
oh, really prior.
really prior.
The ice storm was around in the late 30s, early 40s, I believe, this
It
ice
had
storm.
to be.
Boy, that was a battle.
We probably weren't even born.
I remember we had a nice storm in October. It was like October 10th. And I remember my driveway was just closed with tree limbs just hanging because there was so much ice on them.
There were still leaves on the trees.
Yeah,
That was,
exactly.
that wasn't too long ago.
No, well, not that long ago,
No.
but it was,
Yeah.
I remember,
The fire department was having their clam bake that day when the
Oh.
ice storm came.
Ah.
That's the livery stable building, still there, right? Across from the
Yeah.
firehouse? So this is before 1948.
This is Katuna
Interesting
Street
that
looking
it's
to the
colored.
town hall.
yeah.
Yeah.
so you can see people
Oh,
parking.
the
in
Scott
street.
House is down
Yeah,
there.
remember, look
Yeah.
at that,
It's still there.
It's
We
on
had to-
Katona Street.
the barber shop,
Yeah.
Paul
Yeah.
Lancik's barber shop up there.
It's Katona Street looking at the,
Town hall.
Stuff
yeah,
for us.
looking at Main Street, looking at.
Yeah, remember that?
What was town hall
But
before,
that's where we got.
or has it always been town hall?
Town, it's always,
Okay,
It's been there for, there's been a town hall there
Yeah.
since 1870.
okay.
Next
whole
to the
dances
firehouse.
there.
By the way, the
Yeah,
Must
what's
have
next,
belonged to the
where the
church.
telephone building
Ridgefield
is?
today.
Church
The
building.
Methodist
That's the
church.
back of the church.
Yeah, it is,
Oh,
right,
oh,
yeah,
I
it belonged to the Methodist church.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this lot is where that telephone building is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't, it wouldn't have been there, I think, no, it wouldn't have
That
been
was in
there
the
then.
fifties,
No,
late fifties.
yeah, right.
That came in.
Right.
When did the firehouse start there?
1908.
19, okay.
Long
Because there was a
time ago.
fire, I read on Old Ridgefield today,
Yeah.
thank you, Jack, that there was a fire in 1943
Yes.
in the firehouse
In
In the
firehouse.
firehouse.
In the firehouse. upstairs.
I liked that it was next to the pool room.
Oh, what caused the
Wondering why
fire?
the
Did
fence-
They didn't have a cause, they didn't know
Oh.
what the cause, and they probably wouldn't tell. that.
Yeah, probably a cigarette.
Probably something that wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
This is,
There's a good,
More
good
cartoons.
firehouse.
this is,
Looking up Katuna Street.
this is a blizzard that Dick Venus, I think, or Carl Nash told me, that's a crew that the town hired to clear the road.
Roads.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
they couldn't, they didn't have any vehicles that could do that.
Wow.
They had to shovel it by hand.
But how many shovelfuls can a person do?
Well, they had 20 people
Yeah, but
just doing Katuna Street.
Yeah, just open it up a little bit,
Right.
and then, you know, not like today.
The people were using horses and
Yeah.
sleds on
Right.
that. They didn't want bare pavement.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
right.
In the old days, in the 1800s and 1700s,
Yeah.
they would, I don't know how much of it was done in Ridgefield, but they would roll the snow on the roads to press it down, to preserve it, because it was so valuable. It made travel much easier.
Right.
Winter travel was easier than summer travel, especially spring travel,
Right.
when it was all muddy.
Interesting.
Ah.
That's Priscilla Lee, right?
Yes.
And that's her father,
oh,
B. Ogden Chisholm.
Priscilla Lee, I'm not.
That's Mrs. Lee, the
Pris-
Bissell's
This
Mrs.
is
Lee?
She owned the Bissell Building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Owned the pharmacy, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah.
when she was older.
Yeah.
And lived here all her life, right? But her
Pretty good.
father there was an expert on prisons and was on the U.S. Prison Commission and went to international conferences and wrote books about prisoners. He was very advanced in his thinking.
Wow.
And his spread was on High Ridge and Peaceable Street. It kind of went around the house that's on the corner of High Ridge and Peaceable, the big white house.
Yeah.
His house was down Peaceable next door or 2 doors down, and the farm went around, and his farm buildings were on High Ridge,
On High Ridge.
lower High Ridge. And they were there for a long time. Wasn't the Krewelski house one of the buildings?
Yes.
Oh, whose house?
Yeah.
Krewelski, remember?
was-
uh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of,
Yeah,
The
the
barn?
Kowalski's was the
Garage?
barn.
that building
Yeah,
is
was
still
the
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the barn, wasn't
barn.
it? They lived in the, yeah.
Bob Tulipani
Bob
grew up on
Tulipani
that.
grew
up on that.
Yeah.
But they tore his down, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
for ugly subdivision.
Where the houses had to be slantwise, so.
They weren't down a Nod Road, Jack?
What's that?
The Lees, they weren't down a Nod Road,
No.
Priscilla Lee? No?
Well, she did, she lived down there. but
Yeah.
She grew up on High.
Oh, she grew up on
yeah.
High Ridge, okay.
So I wonder where they were skating.
It's a what?
I wonder where they were skating.
Yeah.
It almost looks like it's a rink. It looks like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
a wall.
yeah.
Maybe in the city.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, 'cause
I
we're
got
doing-
this one, Jack.
I
I
took,
got this one.
I took this picture.
You did,
I
really?
took it.
Well, we love that picture.
Well,
Yeah.
Pat and I are cousins, and this is our Aunt Cookie Casagrande, who looks like she's shoveling probably in front of Squashes, because my Uncle Pete, our Uncle Pete, worked at Squashes, and she would come down and help. He'd get there at 5 o'clock in the morning when the papers were delivered to put the papers out. Squashes was owned, before it became Squashes, by Cookie's father. It was Finch's. Okay, that's all I got, Jack.
That's pretty good.
It's a great
Yeah.
She looks pretty happy.
She was
Always
always happy.
Always had a smile.
Always.
Cookie Casagrande always had a smile on
Yeah,
her
she
face,
did.
always.
She was
Her real name was Catherine.
Catherine.
I was just
yeah.
gonna ask.
Her name was Catherine, yeah.
So Bub
She
Finch
known
was
by
her brother.
Cookie.
Bub
Yes.
Finch was her brother.
Yeah.
And
And
didn't she
Mary's in it.
also work as a cook at
Cafeteria.
Right.
the cafeteria system? Didn't she also work
Yes,
as a cook?
yes, I think she
I think
did.
for a little while,
She
yeah.
was, she was at Veterans Park, and she was at the high school.
Yeah.
I loved it when
And
the,
John Maggio's office was right next door.
Is that what
In
it
her
says
homes,
on
he
the
was
door?
one of the first in the real estate.
Mr. Casagrande was as much a face of Squashes
Oh,
as,
yes.
as
Absolutely.
Squash Travellini
Abs-
was, yeah.
both of
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah.
Well, see, as a newcomer to Ridgefield, when I heard Squashes, and went to Squashes, and there was this little short man, and I assumed that was Squash.
That's good, Sally. Yeah.
And who knew it was about the shape of the Travellini's head?
Right. Yeah. Miss that store, I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I-
I miss it.
I believe, am I correct, that this is Dick Venus and Conklin's Dairy delivering milk in one of the blizzards?
Yes.
Could be
Yeah.
That's
That- they
And
did
that's
say
the
that.
corner of
Gilbert.
Gilbert and Maine.
Yeah.
Beautiful
The
house,
that
that
used to be
there.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
remember?
right?
Yeah, with Mr. Gilbert sitting on the front stoop, right?
Yeah.
is
Is
there
there a
somebody
guy on
up
the
on the
roof? Is
house?
there a guy on the roof
On the
shoveling?
roof.
it?
Yes.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That's-
shoveling the snow off,
Oh, yeah, that's what they
Yeah.
had
Wow.
to do.
people used to do.
Yeah.
Where did Dick Venus live when he was growing up?
But they
South,
always live
South
on
Main,
Homestead
or
Lane.
North Main Street, right?
Yeah.
Where did Mr. Venus live when he was growing up?
Where
North
did
Main
he
Street.
live when
Yeah.
he was growing up?
Yeah,
North
Mr.
Main
Venus.
Street.
Yeah.
Where on North
He was in my mother and father's graduating
I don't
class,
know.
the class of
Be-
32.
Just
I mean,
beyond Paris Hairstylist.
Main?
Excuse-
I don't think the building is there anymore.
Okay. But I
Ah.
thought that, when Lizzie went to live in the apartment that was up there,
Yeah,
I thought
that's-
it was in that
It is.
same
I was
building.
gonna say, Liz lived
In the same
over there.
building,
That
yeah.
was,
They
maybe
made
that
it
was
in-
the house.
Yeah. Next to the
Over-
bank on the west
Near-
side of
near
North Main
Paris.
Street.
Hairstyles.
Is it
Liz
still
lived
there,
there.
you're
There's a
saying?
big house
Yeah,
there.
I think when,
Yeah,
when Lizzie went
could
to
be
live
great.
there, that was one of the reasons that they, they were trying to get her to think it was a good thing, was that it was where her parents had lived. But maybe it's just on the same site and not the same building, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Easter storm
It
again.
might
Oh,
be
we've
though,
seen this.
Sally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just another slightly different view.
That's beautiful.
This is Gilbert Street.
That's
Gilbert
Street? Oh.
Looking towards Maine, I think on
Mm.
the left there,
Wow.
that house is, I don't know if that house is still there. McDonald's lived there.
Oh,
Is that the
no,
flat
that's
roof
where
house?
the apartments are, yeah. Where Corrine was?
Yes.
Oh, that's where the apartments are now.
Yeah. But where's New Street?
New
Right
Street is-
Talking about the apartments on the
Behind
corner of New and,
Up-
and
up this
Gilbert.
way north?
Gilbert.
Yeah.
Yes, well, no.
Maybe
and
they
the
hadn't
back
plowed
Yonkers
it yet.
across the street.
No.
Yeah.
But I
No.
don't see
No,
the street.
no, that's why I asked. It doesn't look like it.
There's too much snow.
You sure that's Gilbert Street?
Yeah,
Yeah, that looks like the McDonald's house.
it does.
There is a little gap there in the
Is that might be New
snowbank
Street?
at the on the left side.
Yeah.
There, it looks like there's a little gap that could be New Street.
That could be
Yeah.
New Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
might
mean,
be
what do
right,
they need?
right, Yeah.
That's, again, down by where that Mexican restaurant is.
What do those signs say, Betsy? Can you read them up there on that pole?
Is that Schultz's?
This says Western Union, I think.
Yeah, it was a Western Union office.
Huber's.
That was at the
This is
pharmacy.
Schultz.
Yeah.
That's Schultz's, yeah, okay.
So
So this
where
is-
is that? Or is it still standing today?
Yes, that's where the Mexican,
Yeah, the Mexican
Baja
place is
Taco
now.
on Main Street,
Oh,
And
okay.
then next to it is
there's an alleyway
some
next to
organic
it.
Yeah.
food thing.
And so there's a sleigh in this picture.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Has anyone ever been in a sleigh like
The
that?
road that goes
Nope.
back.
Not me.
but notice that the sidewalk is clear to the bare pavement, but the street isn't.
Yeah.
Cause they wanted to run the.
Yeah.
Oh.
There were still enough horse and sleighs around, I guess, at the time of this. This was probably twenties,
That was
maybe?
Schultz's Market, okay.
Is that, what's in the left, is that a vehicle or a,
That black thing?
yeah,
Yeah. What is it?
The bison.
It looks like a buffalo.
Yeah, it does, it looks like an animal of
Yeah.
some sort.
I don't know what it is.
it's not part
What's
of
the
a
sign
car.
say near it, Betsy, can you read
It
that?
says H-U-B-E-R-S, Huber's.
Huber's
Does that ring a
Ice
bell?
Cream.
Oh, ice cream!
Good
Oh,
thing.
Where's ice cream?
When we
And
first
Western Union.
lived in Ridgefield, when we were living on Main Street in the Nash Apartments, every Christmas Eve, for a couple of years at least, Lee Robinson, who lived in what was the pink house
Yes,
on Main Street,
Main Street,
would get out a sleigh like that and tow it up and down
the
Main Street with sparks flying. I mean,
Yes,
there were
I
no sparks. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And the police,
So this
Used
is
to
on
let
the
them get
side
away
where,
with it,
the
'cause it
big
was illegal to
boxes,
do.
you can
Yeah,
cross the
yeah.
street, right?
and,
Yeah. Is it? It's gotta be. This is on the
Is it-
side where
Isn't
the,
that where the natural food restaurant is?
Yes,
Right
yes.
there.
yeah,
So
but
it's on the other
the
side and
picture
that-
is taken
And
across the
that
street.
was Barry's building.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
that was
Wow.
Barry's
Yeah.
building,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
Barry's,
Yeah.
but we're looking,
Dr. Martin
we're
was
on the
in
other
there
side of the
for a
street.
while.
so
Oh,
we have a
yeah.
picture.
Oh,
That's right, I remember going to
Remember?
Dr. Martin.
When you
Their
moved
music
from across
store
the
there
street
years
and
ago.
Dr. Doty and him
Yeah.
over
I
there.
had gone to Dr. Martin too.
Yeah, you remember going there?
Yeah.
Oh,
In fact, I
yeah.
still have an
That's when it
eyeglass
started with
Yeah.
Dr.
case
Martin.
that has his name on it.
Yes.
Mm.
He used to be up above where
I don't know what
Planet
this is.
Pizza is, but then he moved across the street to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I was at the,
I love this.
across the street.
Across the street.
Yes.
And then
So
Dr.
this,
Doty came in.
Dick
Yeah.
Venus tells where this is,
Oh, yeah, where?
On Nod
but
Road,
I'm,
the brick farm.
where-
on Nod
They're
Road.
cutting blocks of ice for
Yeah.
refrigerators,
Yeah,
right?
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the ice boxes.
That was the ice box.
Ice boxes.
Did you
or
guys
the-
ever do
We
that?
still call it that sometimes when we were
Yes,
growing
me
up.
too.
It
Yeah,
was-
icebox.
Did you guys ever do that? Cutting ice?
No,
I can remember coal in the basement of the house though.
I do too.
And shoveling,
Oh, yeah.
that I can remember, this I don't, but I remember
No, I don't remember that.
I remember the coal.
I did it maybe 8 years ago up in the Adirondacks. And it wasn't because they needed to, but it was just,
It's something
it was on
that's
Long Lake. And it was really neat to see how it was done and, you know, using those ice tongs and
Right.
sliding it up and,
No one fell in.
no, no.
And then they used to pack them in a,
Well, we
Sawdust.
actually brought it to a kitchen where the walls were insulated, and then you put hay on top of
yes.
an ice
the
house.
ice.
Yeah, there
yeah,
used to be ice houses.
right.
Yes.
The Ice House in Ridgefield.
That's right.
Yeah.
There were a lot of ice houses in Ridgefield.
A lot of ice houses in
But I'm talking
Ridgefield.
about the restaurant,
Yeah.
Ice House.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was an ice house?
I think so, yeah. Very.
This is
Which
that
restaurant?
same,
believe so. The
Ice
ice
Yeah,
house.
Ice House
Oh, that,
restaurant.
that's where we got the
Nice.
name from,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
but the Scott House is, oh, you can't see it here, right?
No.
Just off to the right.
So this is Katuna Street.
Yep.
What does that sign say?
There's another picture of this that I
You got
have
better eyes,
that
Betsy.
was
You
taken
can't see
from
that.
the left-hand side looking toward the
it's
Scott
a
House,
beauty salon.
showing that same tree.
Beauty salon?
It's like a hair place.
Was it Helen? No.
Can't read it. Beauty shop.
Ah.
Dr. Dolan's dentistry is upstairs there.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of upstairs people. Yeah, there was a beauty shop.
That
there.
belonged to the John H. Lynch estate, and that's the Lynch's chauffeur, I believe. And they're in front of, see where it says United Cigars?
Yeah.
But that's not on the squash side, that's before it moved across the street to the squash side. This is on the other side where Shine Salon and that stuff is.
Yeah,
And that's the Bissell building in the background.
yeah, yeah.
And the car
That's where the
there's
kitty
what,
shop used to be.
yes, 20s, 30s?
Yeah, 20s probably.
Well, Bissell's, Mrs. Salisbury was the, what you call the drugstore?
The balcony.
The balcony.
Understand.
And Allen's used to be over there too, and Patterson's men's store, all over there.
And Ridgefield Hardware.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, no, this is before Ridgefield Hardware. Yeah. The dental block,
That's where the
All is-
fashion shop used to be.
all of that is still there.
So, I have a question, Jack, about
Yeah.
the Denton block. See where that window comes out? Is
Yes.
it like built out? Is that true that he had that built so he could look up and down Main
Yes,
Street?
well, that's the story.
Is that right?
So he could see what was going on Main Street.
That's interesting.
That's now Creamer's, Creamer has
Yeah.
all of that.
Rob Craig.
Um,
Some others.
What's
Like,
that down there, that little building, something,
This is Oscar Schultz.
what is
This
it?
is the Happy Shop.
The
yeah,
Happy
there's
Shop?
Walker's, Charles Wade Walker's
Yeah,
Happy Shop.
Yeah,
You
what did
remember
they
that?
sell? No,
No,
what did they
it was a-
sell there, Happy Shop?
It was like a squashes. It had candies and
Drugs.
cigarettes and cigars and, never mind.
Oh, I see.
Sorry,
Oh, he did, oh, it was like a squashes.
And toys.
Which was Mrs. John Farrell Hughes's place?
That's
Well,
not on
what's
this
that
record.
one
That's
way
not
down at
there.
the end? Those over there.
Man, I can't read that one.
No.
This is Schultz, this is Happy Shop, this is F.L. Bailey Country, something interiors, that's the great little crooked.
Yeah.
Yes, Taz.
No,
is
no,
that, right?
no, no.
No?
No,
No,
it's not
the
the crooked
crooked-
shop?
The crooked building is off to the right-hand side of this.
Oh.
Oh,
It's
between
where
that,
Taza is.
Yeah, where Taz is.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
shop.
But
that's
that's not where
what
Taza is.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Yes, it is,
Yeah,
yes, it
two
is.
different.
No, Taza's up between the Bedian building and this building,
Right.
the Denton building. The Bedian
Oh,
building
yeah.
isn't in
Oh,
this.
Right,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The Happy Shop. That's good, I like that.
Oh, that was a popular place. That was,
sorry.
Okay.
Going to the Happy Shop. Gotta get happy.
Oh, that's funny.
Denton was famous for picking up pennies whenever he saw one on the
Oh,
sidewalk.
gosh. Well, he was a pretty big businessman
That
in
was
town.
Sam Denton, wasn't his name Samuel Denton?
Yes, SS Denton. Is this Francis Martin's skating party?
it's
Right,
definitely
yeah.
Francis
Yeah.
Martin there.
Yeah, at Lake Mamonasco.
Yeah. Yeah.
Free hot dogs.
Yeah.
Yep, hot
Hot
chocolate.
chocolate.
Is that
Hot
Mr.
chocolate.
Martin with the hat?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like the back of Mr. Martin.
Yeah. And
Imagine
what,
that.
what about those cars? What
Imagine
is it?
anybody
were-
doing that today?
They were so much fun.
Yeah.
That's like a 50s
Yeah.
car in the back.
Yeah.
Look at the
it's-
car
it's-
in the
It's
back.
got a split windshield.
It looks
so
like it does, yeah.
Could be a 40s even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did it for a long time because I remember going to
Yeah.
this thing.
Going skating out on Mamonasco.
Yeah.
None of those
And you'd
people
get
look
out there in
familiar.
the middle and it would start cracking.
Yeah. You could hear it
We used to
cracking.
do
Oh
that.
yeah, you could hear
Well,
it cracking. I was like,
And that was
Uh-oh.
before all the houses were there.
"Whoa." Yeah.
I can remember bringing a shovel,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Just shovel.
bringing a shovel to,
Yeah.
if you were going skating, in
Right.
case you wanted
Yeah.
to.
Get the snow up?
Clear to
Yeah.
clear spot.
Yeah, that's what we used to
I actually remember skating down at the outpost more than I do up
Yeah.
at Memonasco.
What was the
Well,
name of the
yeah,
plow?
because we could walk to
Yeah,
Outpost.
it was closer.
Mamonasco, somebody had to
Molly?
take us up there.
Molly, yes, I think that's the plow.
They said
Yeah.
it was Bakioki, looks like a backhoe pushing or a tractor
Yeah.
pushing a.
One of these guys is a Mulvaney, I think, and they're all identified. They're all known. The highway department.
Wasn't
This
Curtis,
is on-
Curtis Layton was
What's that?
Curtis Layton was.
I think Layton is one of these.
Yeah.
Curtis Layton. This
Did
is
he have
on
a son,
St. John's
Mark
Road.
Layton?
Bernie
Is
Layton.
that Mr.
Oh, okay,
Paris?
okay.
But if you go down to the highway garage
He
on
lived there.
Old Quarry Road, that plow, I believe, is sitting out in front. They have it as like an antique
Yeah.
display. But they used that for years and years.
Yeah.
That was a big purchase when they,
I know,
that was
those
a big.
V, yeah. They don't use them anymore.
I love it when you say the Old Quarry Road or Sunset Lane. To me, it's the dump road
The dump.
and Railroad Avenue.
Yes, I live on Railroad Avenue, that's what I tell
Yeah,
everybody.
because somebody will say, "Where?" I say, "Oh, it's on the dump road," and they don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, we know, yeah.
So this replaced the teams of shovelers.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
yeah,
And those are little shovels.
Yeah, the one that he's.
They're not
They
very
used to
wide.
use
You know, not the wide.
bulldozers,
Yeah, bulldozers.
but this was much better, and
That's Outpost.
Yeah,
that's Outpost.
Outpost.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the inn in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
can you see it? The inn?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
building there.
There's a
Yeah.
building,
Oh.
that's
Yeah.
the old
Oh,
inn.
yeah.
This
just
was
barely.
Danbury
And all
Road, is
those-
that the location?
Yeah.
Yeah, where Fox Hill condominiums
Fox
are.
Hill condos, can people still skate there?
No,
No,
Oh, you
Nope.
can't skate there?
no, I don't think
never saw
there's a
anybody
pond
there.
in town that people
Oh,
are
I was
allowed
just
to.
wondering,
Yeah.
You're talking about the one in front of Fox Hill?
Everybody's
Yeah, no,
worried
they-
about
They got
insurance
water
now.
bubbling up.
Wow, I think they did something to it.
But when Conley's owned this, they let the whole town skate there.
yeah.
Yes, Colonel Connolly, that we did. We were able to,
They didn't worry about lawsuits, and
no.
it's just a much more friendly thing. I remember Dora Casavecchia talking about walking all the way from way down on West Lane or something to
Yeah.
to get
go
here to go
skating
skating.
there. Yeah, for sure.
Police station,
State
but
police.
why?
Good sliding hill.
Yeah, look at the hills there, the piles.
Still looks the same.
Was that a sign for Troop A? Is that what that?
Is that still Troop A then?
It says state police.
Yeah.
It was the, yeah, it was the state.
Here I was reading what you wrote. There was state police over on West Lane?
Yeah.
They started on
Whereabouts?
West Lane.
Whereabouts on West Lane?
The house that's,
Was Mr. Haight live there?
I guess Mr. Haight lived there.
On the left?
It's got a gambrel
On the
roof.
south side of West Lane, it's,
Oh, yeah, okay.
it's 3 stories. You can see that it was it had a lot of rooms in it.
Nancy Rowe lived there at one time.
Nancy who?
Rowe, you know, from here.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how far from,
Was it near Letelliers on that side? Where Letellier lived? And, who else over there? And, Laboratories too lived
but
over
before the,
Before the
Oh,
lavatory.
before the bend?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, before, yeah.
If you
Oh, what are
if you're
those?
coming out High Ridge
Yeah.
onto West Lane, kind of diagonally across.
Oh, okay.
There's that little house that's up on a
okay.
little rise, and then
Oh,
the next
that
one
was
down.
that far up.
Yeah.
The Bolins lived over there.
Yeah,
and-
yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Ah, and they were there.
They
Yeah.
were there. That's where they started because that was a main route
Right,
for
right.
that. One of the things that they were doing is trying to catch
Bootleggers.
bootleggers, and that was a
Yeah, going to New York.
yeah,
That was the
and they
route.
were also a truck patrol. They were after truck drivers and things
What-
like that. And
What was what is now the police? What was that before it was the state police and the police?
just before it was state police, it was a house.
A house, like the one,
It
the
was
other
used
ones.
by
that-
George Rockwell, the
Rockwell.
Oh, I was
historian.
gonna say,
It was one of
Rock-
the
But
Rockwell
Yeah,
before,
and Mrs. Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it had been a girls' school
Yeah,
before George
School for girls.
went
yep.
back in there, called the Vinton School, And then before that, it was a house again.
Yeah.
It was built as a house.
Yeah, well, there's that, how
Was
many,
that a
Mrs.
Lounsbury?
Davis, Sue
Well,
Manning,
Lounsbury,
There's
Rockwell,
Mr.
Wallace,
Montner,
and
the Montneries, and then, so there were 4 houses that.
four. All the
Four
same
people.
Well,
basic family.
we've been working
Lounsbury,
on them.
Rockwell.
Yeah.
They're all the Rockwells, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been
Rockwell, Lounsbury.
working on that.
I was gonna
Very
say Sue's
interesting.
house was a Rockwell.
Yes,
too,
it
wasn't
was.
But yeah,
Yep.
I only know it by who I know.
But it was Rockwell,
Yeah,
the state, that police barracks.
This is a hard to date
That's,
picture, but,
yeah.
Before,
Nice.
Good
before it was
photograph.
the library,
It is a nice,
oh, it was always the library.
but the new edition of it.
when I was a kid, I used to go to the library and walk, and you know that little hill, I came in the back way, and I lost my glasses, and then it snowed, and I didn't find them again until the spring. they were, I
But they were
found
still
them.
there.
And Miss Paccadomi, I'd walk through the front door,
yeah.
and she'd be
couldn't-
right.
We couldn't go in the left though. That was kind of restricted where people were reading.
No,
reading
but
room.
she
The
was
reading room.
She was on
you
the
couldn't
right.
walk in there.
She was on the right, and she'd
Yeah.
say, "We got a book."
Yeah.
Miss Paccadomi was there on the right,
Right.
not on the left.
No,
Carl
on
Nash's
the left,
mother
we
was
couldn't
one of
go
the
in there.
first
They were very
librarians
strict
there.
about that.
Carl
Yes.
Nash's mother, then Miss Davis, and then Phyllis, and then my mother.
Yeah,
was
Mrs.
children's.
Petroni worked in there.
It's so nice that they saved that building.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And made it a part of everything they've
Yes.
done over the
Great
years,
job.
because
Yeah.
that's really, it's so cool to walk through those doors
Yeah,
Yeah.
and be in that.
yeah. It was quite a place when
And
you
to
were a kid,
remember-
right, Elaine?
Yeah,
When you went
yeah.
to the library,
Yeah,
went to,
that was
oh,
the children's room.
You
over
go
there.
down
Yeah,
in
the
the
children's
stacks.
Snacks were in back.
And you go downstairs.
yeah, down the
They had
stairs.
books. You go downstairs. They had books downstairs. You're right. You couldn't go to
Was it?
as a
No, you had
as
to
a
be
kid,
really,
no.
really careful. You couldn't go on the left.
And the,
They don't want any kids over
they
there.
had a weird little history room downstairs.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Weird
I remember
history?
that.
Spooky.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let you in unless you had a special permission
Yeah.
or
So
something.
always
Very,
Did
very-
someone have to watch you while you were in there too?
Yeah. It was, yeah, maybe. It was a,
And
You
yet the
just-
sword disappeared anyway.
I think a lot of those things disappeared.
Dollhouse too, that we used to have.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
Had
I guess the
electricity.
last picture.
All the
Yeah,
rooms
it is.
were lit up.
Mhm.
It was very cool.
When we lived next door, at the Nash Apartments, just off the left-hand side,
Beyond the Sheens.
yeah, beyond the Sheens, our cat used to go up to the library in the summer and go in the front door, which was left open because,
Air.
to get air in there, with no air conditioning. But it has those stone floors, and the
Yes.
stone floors were very cool, so
Cool,
the
yeah.
cat
Yes.
would go there.
Smart cat.
And
just-
lay down, yeah,
like, and Phyllis would just think, okay.
okay.
That's pretty neat. Then the cat would come home for food.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we lived next door to the library. And
yes.
I remember this. I don't know how old we were. My sister and I were looking out our bedroom window, and we saw the lights were on in the library at night. So we're like, let's go. And we were in our pajamas, you know, those sweet pajamas. So we go there, and we open the door and we go in, and they were having a board meeting. We left there.
Yeah.
And they looked at us and we're like, well, we didn't know the library was open at night. They're like, kids, you better go home. Where's your mother?
There's those Sheen kids again.
In the front on the right, she had a little. There was like a little office or something because she'd be standing there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like in the
Yeah.
back of the counter.
Mm.
There was
Yeah,
a room.
I try to picture when I go in there now to the reading room sometimes. I can't, but that's where she was.
Yeah, it's a great place.
It was, yes,
It still is.
certainly was.
Fortunately, there's some old photos of the inside of that show what it was like
Yeah.
originally.
Yeah, we had everything. What did we not have that we needed, or that we didn't know we didn't have? I guess. I mean, we had a really good library
Oh,
for
we
us.
did,
Yeah.
we did. Absolutely.
So, does everybody think we had more snow when we were
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
Way more.
definitely.
God,
And way more cold.
yeah.
Yes, like today, like all this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
this
you know,
was
this
like
This is what we had.
This is just dusting
It's-
compared
Yeah,
to
Yeah.
than what we had, right?
And they said that this year was the warmest year on record, this past year.
Right,
Yeah.
And the year before was the second warmest
yeah.
year
No,
on
I
record.
remember snow from Thanksgiving to the daffodils on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My father built a igloo in the front yard. There's a picture someplace, I can't find it. But one winter he built an igloo
Mm.
in the front yard of the house.
Yeah, we did that all the time. Every winter, that was like a big.
Yeah. But this was blocks. I mean, he actually built an igloo. It wasn't that he made a pound, amount of snow.
Right.
No, you have to pack the blocks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
we played outside in the snow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was-
everybody was outside.
Everybody was outside. You don't see any kids outside today and was playing in the snow.
No, we,
Well,
we,
I,
You wore your Arctics.
I did yesterday.
Yeah. Did
yeah,
you?
there was
You
a
drive
picture
by,
of Veterans Park.
Veterans
you know,
Park,
I
you'll
was-
see a lot of,
And Ridgeberry
Yeah.
a
School.
lot of activity there.
I remember skating on our front lawn.
Yeah, but
Because we had
that's
the ice storms, we
I
could
mean, we
just go out
play
and
in
skate
our
on
own,
our
in
front
our
lawn.
own yards.
But the prettiest thing was there were white birch trees
Yeah.
Oh.
Going up to
in
the
those
school.
places in front of the Unity Gym,
Mm.
and the ice storms, the
Street.
trees would make they'd go over, and you could walk through them. It was really
Can you
pretty.
tell what that red is on the right-hand side?
I wonder
It
what was
just
playing at the
deteriorating.
movie house.
Yeah,
see the
wonder,
red-
can you tell?
Wonder
red
what was
stripe?
playing there.
I think it's just the
Just part of the building.
dive is just a little.
There was white paneling to the.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
it
was a
movie
big
theater.
treat to go to the movies.
Yeah.
We were so lucky we had a movie house.
25 cents.
Yeah, I remember.
Now, I have a question for you that has nothing to do with this, but since you guys all live right up here, where did the Moylans live? The Moylans who lived by the swamp and the Sullivan,
Which
part of the Sullivan
the
farm.
ones that lived down
Pauline Moylan?
down at the end of Prospect
Yes,
Street.
yes, where, what house is that?
It's, what do you mean, what house is it?
They lived,
You mean where the condos are?
Is
Down
that where they were?
Over the railroad tracks, you call
oh,
it.
you go,
over
yeah,
They
you
were
go over
down
the
there?
railroad
There were
track.
two houses down
There were
there.
two
Oh,
houses
yeah,
down there.
okay.
They're not
They're
there
long
now.
gone.
No.
Yeah, long
The Sullivans
Yeah.
lived on right across from the tennis courts.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
Mr. and
Yeah.
Mrs.
And that's still
old
there.
Mr.
Yeah.
and Mrs. Sullivan's
Yeah.
house, and Uncle Eddie and Uncle
Yeah, Uncle Jim.
Jim.
Yeah.
But if you go down Prospect,
Mm.
across the railroad tracks, there were two houses
Yeah, that's
down
what the
there.
Whalens were brought
Cause,
up.
The Whalens
Yeah,
were there.
Danny
kid
Whalen
that
and,
grew up there, the Moylan, I can't remember his first name, that
Danny?
became a professor.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Joe.
Joe.
Oh.
Yeah,
Joe
Fran's brother,
wrote
right?
a
Yeah.
book about growing up in Ridgefield that's
Yes.
really fascinating.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
there were two houses just over,
Yeah.
on the other
I
side.
think it'd be interesting because of the family,
Well, that was
of
part
all
of
the
the
sisters that came
Fahey
over.
girls.
The
Fahey,
Fahey
yes.
girls and
Yeah.
the Venuses, they're
Yeah.
all involved,
Yeah.
they're all part of that family, right?
Yeah.
The Irish and the
Sullivans.
Italians.
Mulvaney's,
Pardon me?
Mulvaney's,
Mulvaney.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, they weren't part of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Mary Fran's
Mary Fran-
Fran's grandmother. Yeah.
But she
Mary
was a
Fran
Moylan.
was a
Mrs.
Moylan.
Moylan.
She was a Moylan, they're not the Mulvaneys.
There's
She
a
was a
No,
Mul-
not
Moylan.
Mulvaney's.
There's
Moylan. Yeah.
one of them married a Mulvaney.
I think he
Yes.
married a
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Mary. Mary married
but,
Bob.
but
Bob
they
Mulvaney.
were part of those
Yeah.
original sisters, I think that was such a big
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was
And
everybody?
they lived on-
Interesting to
on-
know
There were
about.
what, eight?
Yeah,
Was there 8
it's 7 or 8,
sisters?
But Mrs. Mulvaney was a Moylan, right?
yes.
Yeah.
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 Bessie, do you have that book here?
Yes.
Cause anybody, it
Oh,
would
yeah,
be
that'd be
something
interesting. I
that
think I did
you
read some
guys
of
would
that.
enjoy reading that.
Yeah,
Because it's a lot of stuff about the old Catholic priests like Father Donahue and
Oh,
Duffy and
my mother's
um,
favorite man.
and Joey McManus when he was an altar boy.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Jojo.
it's just full of stories.
Very colorful people.
That whole neighborhood, remember the novitiate was functioning then,
Yes,
and we spent, it was a working farm,
yeah.
and we spent a lot of time over there. My brothers more than,
No, we did.
Well, the Moylans used to go steal strawberries from
Jimmy
it.
and I did.
yes, oh, well, you did, but
Yeah.
but that was Father Bones and Father Jim. They were missionaries. They were priests that were gonna, or missionaries, and then they went to Ferndale in Norwalk, or Darien, I don't know.
Norwalk, yeah.
Is it Stanford?
No, it
No?
was either Darien or Norwalk on,
On the island?
Ferndale was in Norwalk.
Norwalk.
Yeah.
They went from the novitiate, which is now the house for the congregant
Yeah.
housing.
Yeah.
They went there, they went to Ferndale, and then they were missionaries. But there were two that my family, Brother Bones, and Brother, what was the other, Sandy?
Yeah.
But
It
we
was a
spent
McGlynn that was there.
We spent a lot of time over there. There's a pond back there
Oh.
that had a rope swing on it. Rudy said it's still there.
Really?
Yeah. He told me the pond, not the ropes, but
The pond is still there.
the
Oh,
pond is
pond's
still there.
Well, I think this is a good place to wrap up for today. It's been wonderful hearing about your memories and stories of Wintertime here in Ridgefield, and thank you, Betsy, for pulling these great photos out of the Historical Society's collection for us to take a look at. It was great to go down memory lane with you all. I'd like to remind you that our next meeting here is going to be on Tuesday, February 18th at 10 o'clock. Everyone's invited. And Jack has recently published a new book. It's called the Ridgefield Encyclopedia. So what we're going to do is invite everyone from the community to bring your Ridgefield questions to the next meeting. It could be a question about anything related to Ridgefield, and we're going to see if the answer to that is in the Ridgefield Encyclopedia. So this is going to be
And
a
if
fun.
it isn't, we might
Wow.
add it.
So this is going to be a fun, interactive program to dive deep into Ridgefield's history, and I look forward to seeing you all in February. And in the meantime, stay warm and enjoy the snow.
Okay.